So,
How many users does Minds have now?
we are 5 million.
Oh, that's great.
We actually had to take a little haircut because we, and we're trying to be as honest as possible because basically we had been counting that people who, fail. Data is hard. And so people who had like tried to sign up were in our data showing as signed up. So, backed it up a little bit. But the point being, we don't use any closed source proprietary analytics tools. So like the temptation when you're running a startup, trying to create an app, is to just go to the, Silicon Valley display case of Google Analytics and Customer.io and all of these surveillance tools and analytics tools that are very powerful and can give you very precise data about what's going on. But we have refused to use any of those tools because when you put Google Analytics on your website, you are becoming Google. You are now part of Google's tentacles, and you're basically handing over all that user data to Google. And we just our whole foundation has been fully open source and just don't take shortcuts. And so we're gonna our growth path is healthy. It's happening. We're continually growing, but I don't care about the pace of growth as much as the quality. And so, we built a whole day, we do machine learning. We're starting to do AI, but we're doing it in an open source way. So in the AI wars right now, you have open, quote unquote, open AI, which isn't, it's barely open. They don't share much of what's going on. And they shroud that in some sort of we need to protect you and we need to not let this get out of control, which maybe there's an element of truth to that. But then there's a whole other part of the AI world, with stable diffusion and stability, and it's all open source and it's being done in the open and everybody has access because, as you see all this AI stuff coming about you, do you think that you should, how do you feel about that? Do you think that you should be compensated in a way? Do you have any,
No.
you mentioned copyright. Do you have any issues with it?
No. I mean, it is what it is. There's no stopping that. And I saw it a long time ago because this company from Canada was the first one to take all of, they essentially got a database of all my audio recordings, which is fucking thousands of them. So there's so many hours of me talking that they could easily have me saying a bunch of things. And so they put together just this recording of me saying a bunch of things that I've never said and me talking about some subjects and doing these things. And it was a conversation that I never had. Mm-hmm. And then they did one with me doing a podcast with Steve Jobs, which is wild. And then now there's a new one with me doing a podcast with Sam Altman. And it's a full podcast.
I listened to the beginning of that one. And I think they did it tastefully because they made it very clear that it's not you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a proof of concept. It's they're showing that this is something that can be done. And there's no flavor to it, which is interesting. There's no, if you and I are having a conversation, there's fun. There's laughing. There's human interaction. This was just question, answer.
Yeah, and then
question,
answer.
And
you would be like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And that just kept happening. You can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of tell. But for now, they'll be able to sort of code your personality in the future and sort of gauge and maybe even have some weird interactions that are just silly that you could sort of program in that make it look like personality and make it.
And you can do that now. You can prompt more casual attitude,
non sequiturs.
Yeah. But I think that so maybe you don't care. And
it's
that's
not
good.
that I don't care. It's just that it is what it is.
Right.
Would I rather it not exist? Of course. Of course. I'm getting sent these things where I'm doing these ads for products that I've never used and I've never talked about. And these companies, and we tried to chase one of them down. It was like, I think it was like a testosterone booster or something like that. But when you do go down this rabbit hole legally, when you sick a lawyer on it, they're like, Jesus Christ, like there's a web, like there's shell companies, shell corporations. It's very difficult to find. It's all overseas. Very difficult to find who's actually making this and how they would profit off of it.
Yeah. When we talk about AI like displacing work, on a mass scale, I think that we do have to have a conversation about these companies and, where they're getting all their data and, who's getting compensated. So I actually prompted ChatGPT and asked it, do you have the rights to the data that you're using? And it said it said no. It said that we do not have access or rights to all of the data that we're using. And that that could become more of a concern over time. I posted this, and so what does that mean? Because what are they doing? They're scraping the world's use of language, all the data, all the imagery, everything. And so when we talk about OpenAI becoming worth hundreds of billions of dollars, probably it's the fastest growing app in the history of the world.
Right.
It got to 100 million faster, way faster than everybody.